Welcome to The War from Boise, Idaho. This is your host, Adam Graham. If you have a comment, send it to me, box13@greatdetectives.net. Well, each weekend I try and feature an important and talented musical figure, both on a domestic and a overseas broadcast. And this weekend I'm going to focus on Paul Whiteman. Whiteman's not a name that many have heard of if you're not into the golden age of radio, and even if you are, it may have just slipped past you. But this was one of the most talented band leaders and composers of the first half of the 20th century. He was known as the King of Jazz and the Dean of Modern American Music. The Paul Whiteman Orchestra was really something to behold. Plus, Whiteman was the type of artist who really took an interest and a concern for future generations and really made it a priority to give new talent a chance. Whiteman was key to discovering Bing Crosby with the Delta Rhythm Boys. He also worked as a band leader on a variety of radio programs, including the Burns and Allen program. And today's appearance on Command Performance by Paul Whiteman and his orchestra actually reenacts a musical composition that was done for the Burns and Allen program. It's extremely well done and a testament to his sheer talent, and I hope you'll enjoy it. This is an episode of Command Performance hosted by Sheridan, and the original air date was April 24th of 1943.
Performance USA, the greatest entertainers in America, as requested by you, the fighting men of the United States Armed Forces throughout the world. Command Performance, presented this week and every week till it's over there. Okay there, gang, here's that 30-minute pass, good anywhere in the world for a half hour back home in the USA. Our Command Performance is holding open house and knocking out the answers to those requests rolling in to your granddaddy of international radio programs for the AEF. And digging her way out of that landslide of your letters to Command Performance, care of Special Service Division, Los Angeles, your sweetheart of the Navy, and the gal many a doughboy thinks of when he hums, "You'd be so nice to come home to," your mistress of ceremonies, Ann Sheridan.
You must remember this, a kiss is still a kiss, a sigh is just a sigh. The fundamental things apply as time goes by. And when two lovers woo, they still say I love you. On that you can rely. No matter what the future brings as time goes by. Moonlight and love songs are never out of date. Hearts filled with passion, jealousy and hate. Woman needs man, and man must have his mate. That no one can deny. It's still the same old story, a fight for love and glory, a case of do or die. The world will always welcome lovers as time goes by. This is Ann Sheridan, and believe it or not, that was me singing As Time Goes By. from the picture Casablanca, starring Humphrey Bogart, currently playing your neighborhood theater. Smoking and balcony only. All sailors on skirt patrol will be accompanied by the shore patrol. Well, this is command performance, and I'm here to take orders. And speaking of orders, a gang of Marines down south wrote in asking me what oomph sounds like over the radio. Now, what in the world is oomph? I never heard of it. Anyway, your good ship command performance is pulling anchor about now, loaded with big stars. Take Paul Whiteman. Paul's a very big star. In fact, he used to be Skinny Innes' secret ambition. But he's the streamlined Whiteman these days. Hard work and rye crisp have cut him down to a mere nub. But leaving Pop Whiteman of the svelte figure, here's a hot news flash that'll please thousands of you. Command Performance has made connections with the gal you've been waiting for. Wee Bonnie Baker. Take over, Bonnie.
Thanks, Aunt Sheridan. And fellas, thanks for the letters. Long as Annie's giving me a couple of seconds to cut the jive with you, I'm calling Private Saul Bermudez in India. He says, Bonnie, please sing, talk, whistle, and sigh. Well, I'm talking right now and singing in a jiffy, so... There's the rest of it, Saul. Hello to 827 and Troy Willems and Joe Ossifat. No relation, says Joe Ossifat, to Jumpin' Jehoshaphat's. Hello, Don Raymond and your Navy pals, and the gang at Fort Colby. Also, Warren Palm in Hawaii, with a kiss from Lois in Chicago. Regards to Sarge Russell and everybody at 825, to that personnel office at Bishop's Point, to Ken, Ray, and Larry with an ordnance company in England. And here are a couple of those tunes you wanted, Billy, and you'd be surprised. For when I walk, I always walk with Billy, 'cause Billy knows just where to walk. And when I talk, I always talk with Billy, 'cause Billy knows just how to talk. And when I dine, I always dine with Billy, 'cause he takes me where I get my fill. And when I sleep, I always dream of Phil. He's not so good in a crowd, but when you get him alone, you'd be surprised. He isn't much at a dance, but then when he takes you home, you'd be surprised. He doesn't look like much of a lover, but don't judge a book by its cover. He's got the face of an angel, but there's a devil in his eye. He doesn't say very much, but when he starts in to speak, you'd be surprised. He's not so good at the start, but at the end of a week, you'd be surprised. On a streetcar or in a train, you think he was born without any brain, but in a taxi cab, you'd be surprised.
Baker. And hurry back for old Johnny. Well, fellas, when I came to the studio, they were hauling in a special grand piano. And then along comes a piano tuner who gives it a terrific going over. Like Snuffy Smith, I say, what's all the fuss? Why the special grand piano? Do we have some famous artist like Jose Turbi or somebody that we need this fancy 88? And then who walks in? Naturally, Jose Turbi himself. And that's good news for men like Lieutenant Lemaire at 9.6 cents, 6.6, and
Alfred Lapidus, ensign with my good friend the Navy. So for all of you who've asked command performance for one of the greatest pianists in America, here he is, playing Chopin's Waltz in A-flat, Jose Iturbe. There's a musical discussion going on at one of the tables that we ought to get a load of. Jose Iturbe, who just played for you, Captain Meredith Wilson, who supervises music for all your Special Service Division radio programs, and Gracie Allen.
Oh, Mr. Iturbe, I thought you played very well.
Thank you.
Of course, I don't understand boogie-woogie.
Boogie-woogie?
Well, yes, you see, my artistic soul demands the classics. Beethoven, Mozart, Strauss, Fudnik.
Fudnik? Mr. Iturbi, are you familiar with the works of Fudnik?
I believe not, Captain.
Oh, gentlemen, I'm afraid you're out of touch with music. You see, they're doing Fudnik's things on the radio now.
What are some of them?
Well, now, here's one that I consider a real classic. Give me a package of Beeman's Peps and Chewing Gum, please.
I understand you have a concerto for index finger, Mrs. Burns. I think that's remarkable.
Oh, well, thank you, Mr. Iturbi. I'm glad to see there's no professional jealousy. And don't hesitate to call on me when you feel that you've gone as far as you can with your present teacher.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm particularly intrigued by the fact that you play with only one finger. Why is that?
Mr. Iturbi, there's a war going on. These are busy times. Who knows what we may be called on to do? This way I can play the piano and still have 9 fingers free for other things.
But, Mrs. Burns, with one finger, you can't play chords.
Well, just between you and me and Etude magazine, Captain, chords are on the way out.
Well, that's preposterous. Without them, even our most resourceful composers would be hamstrung. Shostakovich has achieved some of his finest effects through the use of a diminished fifth.
A diminished fifth?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness, think what he could do with a full quart.
Mrs. Burns, how long have you been interested in music?
Well, all my life, 17 to 18 years. I played the piano before I was even tall enough to see the keyboard.
You mean you couldn't even see what you were playing?
That's right. And would you believe it, I played just as well then as I do now?
That I believe.
Well, of course, I really don't deserve the credit for my genius. Our whole family was musical. Now, my brother Willie learned to play the violin before he learned to read or write.
Remarkable. How old was he when he learned the violin?
27. And my sister Bessie was a musician, too. Well, she studied the cello for years and years. Oh, she was brilliant. But Papa made her stop. She smashed up too many cellos.
Oh, I understand. She was temperamental.
No, knock-kneed.
A quite remarkable family, Mrs. Burns. No doubt your husband is musical, too.
George? Oh, he loves music. He sits in the theater, and every time the music stops, he just applauds and applauds until it starts again.
I should like to entertain your husband sometime.
Oh, Mr. Iturbi, you'd look awfully silly up there on the runway taking off your clothes. But, gentlemen, let's not talk about my family. Let's talk about music.
Yes, suppose we discuss the effect of climatic environment upon the proponents of the various schools of symphonic and operatic composition. The stern, rugged strength of Sibelius and Grieg reflect the Nordic influence.
Personally, I prefer the influence of the warmer climes as reflected in the bel canto of Verdi, the appassionamento of Puccini, the cantabile of Donizetti.
Well, that's fun, but let's talk about music.
Well, this can go on all night, men, so let's break it up. As Command Performance proudly presents Paul Whiteman.
Thank you, Ann Sheridan, and hello, fellas. Recently in Carnegie Hall, I had one of the great moments of my career conducting the symphony as Gracie Allen played her concerto for index finger. And I am deeply honored to have this thrill repeated on your own show, Command Performance. Gracie Allen at the Concert Grand and the concerto for index finger.
All right, Paul, I'm ready.
On behalf of the entire AEF, Command Performance thanks you, Gracie Allen and Paul Whiteman. And hitting the deck for Corporal Lawson and the gang at 870, Ikey Butler and Company at 953, the mob in Dutch Guiana, for Sid Guthrie and 7 sergeant friends with the Air Corps in England, for you wives of our men over there in India, for you guys on the sub-chasers, Ruth Calkins in Trinidad, our Coast Guard and Merchant Marine, our nurses doing their noble work around the world, for all our civilian workers, and for each and every one of you everywhere, here's your old Johnny girl, Bonnie Baker.
On Monday he told me he was 1A. Tuesday he said he would go any day. Wednesday night he told me how he'd miss me. And then he took me in his arms and he kissed me. Met me on Thursday, we hated to part. Saw him on Friday, he captured my heart. What do you think happened on Saturday night? That's right, he met his draft board. He's off to fight. The following Monday, he knocked at the door. He looked so handsome, ready for war. Wednesday night, he got a little bolder. Let's tie the knot before we get any older. Met him on Thursday, we picked out the ring. We were so happy, we started to sing. What do you think he brought me on Saturday night? You'd never guess, a pound of coffee. That's love, all right. And now every Monday I write him a line. I get so lonesome, long about 9. Every night from far across the ocean, I seem to hear him singing my devotion. I love him for keeps, in spite of the ride we took in one of those Jeeps. What do you think we'll do when he gets home on leave? He'll take me to the movies. I don't believe. Oh, Johnny, how you can love. Oh, Johnny, heavens above. You make my sad heart jump with joy. And when you're near, I just can't sit still a minute. I'm so, oh, Johnny, please tell me, dear, what makes me love you so? You're not handsome, it's true, but when I look at you, I just, oh, Johnny.
Anchors away. Good old Navy, that's my sweetheart. And one of these days, Navy will come home to stay, and a column of blue will roll down Broadway and take out to Grand Rapids, New Rochelle, and Iron Mountain, and Chicago and Pocatello. And a lot of kids will run up and down the street yelling that Joe's home and Pop's home, and the women will cry a little because they're women, and so darned happy they can hardly smile. And the ships that come back will be loaded with khaki, too. And you tank busters will go back to the old farm and check over the tractor and the threshing machine. And there'll be Sunday morning ham and eggs in Sheboygan. And wide eyes around the breakfast table while Corporal Bill tells how it finally looked in Berlin and Tokyo. And the guy in the infantry will get out the family clunk because he's fed up with walking. And you there, you the bugler, you'll wake up with the start. Then you'll laugh at yourself and pull up the covers and thumb your nose at the morning sun. And you proud Marines, back you'll come from those islands, those beaches littered with the broken bodies of Tojo's fleet, back to the only island you ever cared about, an island where there's one special house and one special voice. And you'll look through those letters you wrote back home and wonder if that was really New Guinea and Guadalcanal and Dutch Harbor, or only a dream, or maybe a nightmare. But you fellas know all this. You know that day's coming true, and there'll be all these things to come home to. You know it'll come true because you're the only guys in America who can make that day come true. And now I guess I'd better scram. This is Ann Sheridan saying thanks to the AEF and sending love and kisses from the USA. So long, fellas.
This is Ken Carpenter closing up the establishment with a word to the effect that command performance was arranged through the cooperation of the Hollywood Victory Committee and is produced for you men in the armed forces of the United Nations by the Special Service Division of the War Department of the United States of America.
That will do it for today. If you have a comment, email me, box13@greatdetectives.net. I welcome your story or that of loved ones who served during World War II. Ken Curlin provides our opening theme music, kencurlin.com. I am your host, Adam Graham. This series is provided as a service of the Great Detectives of Old Time Radio, greatdetectives.net.